You know you like Art Night. If you don't like Art Night, well, hopefully you learn to like it, or hopefully you stick around to see what Art Night is, or maybe you've never watched it before. I don't know. I'm not sure. Who am I to say whether or not you've been here before? Regardless, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your host this evening, your Saturday night. And we're going to be getting into some painting. Quick little descriptor for where we are. We are in my library and studio space. There, in the center of the screen, there is, of course, a canvas on an easel with a pre-sketch for my painting for the evening. And then on one side, there is a bookshelf with a bunch of happy books. And on the other side, there's another bookshelf with happy books, but there's also my helmet. It is a full visored medieval helmet and a fencing mask. And on the wall, we have Marilyn Monroe, just having a good old time. Good old time. Good old time. Now, in the comments or the description, depending on where you are joining me, you are going to see a link for my website. And why do you want to go to my website? That is a great question. Let me jump right on that and let you know. The reason you want to go to my website is that's where you can get my art prints, my originals, my merch, my sketchbooks, my bags, all that fun, cool stuff that you absolutely need to have. Okay, maybe you don't need to have it, but you should. Just a little tongue-in-cheek, But we're going to dive right in because this is Art Night. And what are we doing? We are painting. I already have my palette and my selection of colors chosen out. I have my brushes ready. This morning was my monthly art workshop. Hey, if you don't know, I run a monthly art workshop. You should know that. And now you do. It's Abstract Art Workshop. Definitely worth catching. Definitely worth joining. It runs from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time every third Saturday of the month. And you can sign up for that on Eventbrite. But that's just a tangent. We're on a side tangent, and we don't need to be on a side tangent. We need to be on a main tangent. Main tangent. I think that's the appropriate way to say that, so that's how I'm going to say it right now. I have a little bit of a different energy when I get here to paint and do all of this, but let me tell you a little bit about my colors for the evening, because I bet you would like to know. And I will try to respond to everyone who gets into the chat as best as I can. So if I don't respond to you right away, just know I am going to do my best to get to you, to make sure that you are heard, you are answered. Alright, so let me first talk to you about my palette here. So I have this nice wooden palette. It's a little bit messy, but I've been doing a lot of painting today. So today, what we have is we have ash black, yellow ochre, We have this neutral gray, this sunrise yellow, this neutral white, this wonderful light blue. We have a phthalo blue. We have magenta. We have a burnt sienna, and we have a brown amber or an amber brown. So these are the colors we're using for this particular painting. And before you ask, the canvases I use, as well as the palette, the paints, even some of the brushes, those are available on my Amazon storefront. So you can definitely pick up and use all the same art supplies I do, if you ever want to. If you ever want to. I grabbed the wrong brush to start. That's a bad way to start. What I really want is this round brush, this wonderful round brush. The rounder, the better. So I have a sketch here. Let's talk a little bit about it while I get right into some of the painting. Alright? There's just a couple things I need real quick. So I want this yellow, this beautiful yellow. We're going to get that, and actually going to get this into where the eyes are going to be to begin. Now I'm using a round brush and just kind of wiping away some of the excess because I want to kind of get into some nooks and crannies. Nooks and crannies. And there's some certain things that I really want to have this yellow undertone. So the eyes, the lips. We're going to hit a few different areas with some yellow. It is going to blend ever so slightly with some of the graphite that's already on here, and I'm fine with that because this is early stage stuff. Early stage stuff. Early. You know, we're not starting off just being like, oh, everything has to be perfect. No, it doesn't. That's not how we paint. We don't jump in and say, that's how we paint. You know, that's what you're going to do, that's what you're going to get. No, that's not what we do. What we do is we get in and start creating. So I had a concept here, and I'm going to work it as best as I can. For those of you who are unaware, I write a lot of stories. I write fantasy stories, and some of those fantasy stories have a decidedly very dark undertone to them. And I kind of just had this idea, like, maybe I should do a dark character to go with my dark fiction. So that's kind of what I'm working on. Just a happy dark character to go with my dark fiction. And of course, I made sure to get a really nice gridded out sketch ahead of time. That's just something that's really important to do. You can freehand just go ahead and start painting, but it's always better if you start painting with some sort of sketch or plan already there. And since some of these take a while, you know, just do yourself a favor and try to have one from the get-go. So I'm trying to put a light yellow undercoat on this to begin with. And this light yellow undercoat is really just providing me with some context for what the piece is going to be. That's a really important thing to me that we have some context for what our piece is going to be. We have the sketch, we have all of this, but I'm still going to be using this brush here for a little bit, because there's certain stuff I want to really get blocked in and detailed out early. So that's what we're doing. We're starting right off the bat with a nice solid plan with some good paint choices. And we're going to use everything that we have at our disposal to really sell this kind of dark queen, kind of mysterious style character. I really want to sell it. Now I'm working with a rather limited group of colors, but that's for a number of reasons, and we will get into all of that as we move forward. Right now I just want to get things on here. Now we need to get our construction. It's our construction. We need to get our construction done, and that's what we were doing. Now the gray has really good coverage, the yellow not so much, but just from an initial standpoint, that's really nice. You know, it's getting everything where it belongs. Getting everything where it should be. But we aren't even close to done. This round brush is going to be spectacular, and I'm actually going to be using this for a bunch of areas on here at the early portion. It's really going to make a huge difference. Just unbelievably. So this is that amber brown. Brown amber. I don't know. But we're getting it in here. I'm going to work on having kind of, not exactly a sepia tone, but I want a vintage feel to this, and we are using vintage paints, so I think that will be easy to accomplish. But nonetheless, we're going to have to do some work to really get the bulk of it to feel right. Like to really have the appropriate textures, the appropriate coloration. So yeah, I'm using this amber brown though because it's going to be really warm, and even though I'm kind of painting what could be considered a villainous character, I want a warm undertone. So that's what we're working on. I intend on this being kind of a dress with a lot of layers and some lace to it. It will take me a little bit to get looking right. And like many of my paintings, I presume this is going to be several live streams to really get it to what I want it to be. But this round brush is working wonders for getting me the texture, the lay down, everything that I really want right now. So let's talk concept really quick. So as far as the art style, this is going to be slightly comic book, slightly an animation style. I see a few different inspirations for kind of the shape and everything. So there's a few different inspirations for the style, the design, the shape, kind of even the garments and the position. And I wanted this kind of, it's not exactly action, but it would be like a scene of sorts. So the scene here that my mind came up with was she was like holding her dress maybe to walk across the room, whatnot, get that really kind of classic feel to even the movement. So she's holding up the sides of her dress, probably to walk forward across a room, maybe come up some stairs or something. It's gonna look really cool. And as far as inspirations, I have a number. One is a character which I created called Nemesis, who appears in Without the Light, um, who's a queen and known as the Lady of the Comb. She has very long hair. She's very concerned with appearance, but she's also actually a leader and a very multifaceted character. So the her focus on appearance is actually not really that. It's not the main crux of her, if that makes sense. All right. So there's a few other spots I'm going to be hitting here really fast, but let's just keep talking about various areas of influence. So one obviously is my character Nemesis from Without the Light, but an additional influence for this kind of style was Castlevania. Castlevania, amazing video game series, and also a really, really good show. Like, so good. Criminally good. So I kind of had a little bit of that. But I also wanted a little of that Ren Fair kind of feel. Like, this is more of a costume than just a day-to-day outfit. And by Ren Fair feel, I really mean, like, that overly stylized, hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to see you here. So yeah, I wanted to go for a really stylized outfit, not something that would be practical so much as that would look good. So as far as influences, again, kind of to recap, one influence is my character Nemesis from Without the Light, kind of getting that powerful leader in control, but also she thinks she's so much smarter than everyone else, and occasionally she's right. So that's one aspect. So a character of my own creation, but is inspired, not actually her. Another one is Castlevania. And Castlevania is an amazing video game series. It's also an amazing cartoon. series, very mature, very fun. Um, then there's kind of a Ren Fair vibe that I want to get in here, as far as like, this is a costume, this is meant to look a certain way. It's not meant to be, what you would normally wear, so much as it's meant to look really good. And then I kind of have that old kind of 90s cartoon aesthetic to it a little bit. So there's a few different inspirations for this idea to make this kind of dark queen, as it were. And we're just getting her blocked in. But with all of that in mind, I mean, it is a dark queen, so she must be powerful, she must be well dressed. She's kind of holding her skirt so she can walk, because she has this really big, elaborate dress. So she has to hold up the edges of it here so that she can walk without stepping on the front of her dress. But that's all part of the, I guess, the illusion? It's an illusion. She wants that fanciness. She wants that quality. She wants you to know she's in charge, but she also doesn't necessarily want to appear intimidating on a physical level, more of a social level. She's just kind of rising above. And there's lots of types of villains, as it were, but this is clearly one that uses her social status as her intimidation. I think things like that can be fun. But we're getting really moving into this quickly. We're only 23 minutes in. There's actually a lot of blocking done here already. But stuff like that's important, you wanna move quick. Now, because some of this gray is still wet, when I add the black in, which normally, this is a lot more black than I would have in early, but there's just certain things I want to do. And because there's certain things I want to do, I need to make sure I'm giving proper depth to everything. So that's one of the things we're working on right now, is depth. Depth and detail and interest. And the black and the gray have a really good coverage. The amber brown, not so much. The yellow is just to kind of begin lighting our subject. So there's a lot going on here. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful weekend, by the way. Alright, so there's a few other things I want to do. Obviously, I've already gotten a lot blocked in. I kind of have created these lines in the background because I wanted to start framing. So when I was making my initial sketch, I actually put in some diagonal lines here because I would like to give this a really dramatic background to, again, give it an early 90s cartoon style. Maybe 2000s, actually. Early 2000s cartoon style. So I'm going to be doing here really quick. I don't want to waste a perfectly good brush. I'm going to be getting this here magenta. And actually, I want the magenta down here. going to start getting some magenta in. And I want to work it in right at my edge first. I don't want to blot out anything important, but if I don't block this in now, it's not going to quite look right later. And since there's still a lot to do for this skirt and dress, we can go ahead and get a lot of kind of creative choices made now. So here is the beginnings of, I'm going to say Wicked Queen. Wicked Queen, I like that. That just sounds very fairy tale, very classic. But maybe she's not a queen. I think queen is overplayed. So we're going to break right away from queen. We can't say countess because that's just overplayed, right? Overplayed. Lady of the court, maybe. Princess. No, princess, that's too obvious. Even a handmaiden seems too obvious. So I'm going to give this some thought as I work. Get this magenta kind of blocked in here to create our first color panel section. Get this in here. So yeah, there's a lot of choices to make. And we are making them as we go. Oh, fun tip if you ever need it, your easel can be used as a hand rest. Don't forget, your easel can be used as a hand rest. That right there is really good advice, in case you ever need it. When you still have dry spots on the canvas, obviously, you can use those as rests. I say obviously a lot. I just noticed that. Today. So I was doing my art workshop earlier, and I caught myself probably like 5 or 6 times I said obviously. I don't know why. But I'm still doing it. So I'm going to be mindful of that. I'm going to be mindful of my own little buzzword. My own little whoopsie there. Can't believe I was doing that all day. I don't know. Alright, so that's pretty good blocking for our first level of magenta. You know, it looks nice. It's going to give a nice pop. So I'm going to separate the back into 3 panels, essentially. And I want them to greatly contrast with our queen here. Our princess, our lady. Ooh, I'm going to have to figure this out. We're going to figure this out. We're going to come up with a title. She needs a title. But first, more blocking. So for the upper panel, I'm going to use this blue as my first layer. Now is going to be a good time for me to, again, give you a quick tip. When you are in your early stages and starting to get stuff in, don't worry when you go over your own lines. Do not worry when you go over your own lines. It's going to be okay. Is this too light? Just taking a look, I'm wondering if this is too light of a blue. I can make that choice later. I can figure that out as we go. Right now, getting the pigment on, I think, is of incredible value. So yes. You know what? I think I'm going to go with what would fall into the less obvious choice. Because if we go with queen or baron or lady, or baroness, I should say, or anything like that, it's just cliche. And cliches exist for a reason, of course, but I don't want that. Not for this character. And not for this art piece. So, oh, those are fun little emotes. Are those little dogs? Those look like little dogs. If I'm wrong, you let me know. So let's go kind of modern. What would the... Ooh, we can go semi-modern. And use Esquire. So most people are used to the term Esquire in a very particular kind of meaning, but it is a title. And an Esquire, in kind of the modern parlance, usually is a lawyer. Usually is a lawyer. So that's actually what I'm going to go with. I am making her a lawyer. And I think that works because status is what she uses to intimidate, to exert her power. But I think if she had power in a very direct sense, like power in the courts, I like that idea. So, Esquire. Let me look something up really quick. While I say that, I want to make sure I have the right meaning for that word. Okay, in the United States, Esquire, often shortened to Esq, is a title of courtesy given to a lawyer, commonly appended to his/her surname. So, Esquire will follow her name. Yeah, I thought I was right, I just had to double check. So, in a modern sense, still, lawyer, I like it, it works. Esquire. So, we know what she does, we know what her power is, or at least where a large amount of her ability to exert that power is. So that's very useful. Alright. So one of the next things I'm going to do, because I have this really bright upper panel and then this kind of mid-tone bright lower panel, I have a couple of choices. I can go either very contrarian in the middle here, or I can go super dark. Now if I go super dark, then her entire image has to be very light. So I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know. Giving it a thought. I'm actually going to pull an additional color out really quick. I want to use this amethyst for the middle. I just would like to have this blocking done before I get too far. And I think that's just something I should do now. I may make additional choices as we move forward, but right now I'm liking this. I'm liking it. But yeah. She is an esquire, so she's a lawyer. Means she's educated. She's not just powerful, she's educated. It's always important to make distinctions such as that. not everyone of power is well educated, and not everyone of great education has great power. So, just really good to make that distinction now, early on, while we build her legend, her existence into something tangible. But despite the fact that I'm kind of putting some modern leanings into it, as far as titling and stepping away from the kind of cliches, there's still a lot to make decisions on here. She's a lady of power. She is a lawyer, which means she's well connected. That's just going to be a natural extension of that. She's well connected. Which means she doesn't need to get her own hands dirty. Stuff like that just gives great flavor text. She doesn't have to get her own hands dirty. She has other people to do the dirty work. Other people to do the dirty work. Start to fill in some of these gap areas. So if she has other people to do the dirty work, she can't really be implicated in a lot of it. I like that. That adds, again, really nice flavor text. Let's think more. We're going to have a lot of overlap on some of these colors. And I'm looking at this amethyst, and even though it's distinct enough from that blue, I think I am going to make that blue darker. There's going to be many layers here, and I probably will try to get as stylized as I can. But I can already see like some stuff that could be really fun here. Some really nice extra pieces, some portions. I'm just really building up my fantasy here. Oh, I'm going to have to fix this arm so much. I'm just looking at the way I initially painted it, and I can see areas that I have to fix. But that's okay, because we're still early blocking. Woo! Still very early blocking. And because we're still very early blocking, it's okay. Anything I don't like this at this point in time, it's all still fixable, All still very fixable. I really like using the round brush for this just because it's going to give a very nice finish for these early layers, and it's not going to be too much. I have an idea in regards to kind of adding patterning in as I go forward. So we're going to see how I can do that. See if that's something easily accomplished. But, we're going to have a full background here soon, which is going to make the whole project work a lot smoother. A lot smoother. My voice is terrible today. I know that I shouldn't be critical about myself, but I can feel it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can just feel when it's like, oof, that is not optimum. Not optimum at all. All. Alright, there we go. I think that's a nice background. Had a little bleed there we can fix. And even for an early state for this, you know, you have a lot of fun things happening. A lot of fun things. A lot of interesting details that we're working out. We're just going to keep rolling right along. This is going to have a lot of fun visual interest to it. I can't praise enough the idea of visual interest. I like things that are unique, that are fun. Oh yeah. Oh, that looks nice already. I like that. We're really getting the good early choices done to kind of sell the character. So I'm going to give her these nice raised eyebrows. Raised up. Like, interesting. They're a little silly, but in all the right ways. In absolutely all the right ways. Very silly, very fun. There's going to be a lot more to do, but even in these early stages. So yeah, she's got like those eyebrows just raised right up. Raised right up. Oh, I like that. Alright, I need another small brush. Small brush. The perfect small brush. Because her skin right now is all like super yellow. And that is not ideal. So I'm going to get some yellow ochre, a little bit of blue, a little bit of magenta. I'm going to get kind of an initial, I need a little yellow in there actually. Tiny bit of white. A little more. Her skin's going to be fairly dark to begin with. Because right now it's just all very yellow. Very yellow. So we're going to go ahead. Actually, I want some more white in there. And we're going to get some face going here. Now in these early stages, this is going to look a little funny. But, as per usual, it's all about working your way to where you want to be. We have to work our way there. Oops, okay. Kind of covered up one of the eyebrows, but I think that's for the best because if both of them are raised up, it's not going to look as good. We're going to just have one raised up. really make it pop. And actually, I'm just going to go ahead and cover that a little bit. Her face is going to be a little featureless for a while, but it's going to be okay because we are going to make it work. Now, at this point in time, I'm going to have to do a little bit of blending through. Don't worry. It is all going to make sense. Eventually. All going to make sense. Like, taking a look at this is actually a really good choice for what's going to be her future skin tone. Not her final skin tone, just like the building blocks to make it. Remember, every step on the road to a final piece is fraught with peril. So much peril. I'm actually going to take a little bit of my burnt sienna here. Mix that in. There's a couple spots I already know aren't dark enough. I really enjoy artwork, painting, exploration. This is what I refer to as exploration. You know, when you're getting your ideas kind of fleshed out. And that's what we're doing right now. We're fleshing out our Esquire. Giving her depth and a design. Making some important choices, very important choices, in regards to how she's going to end up. And who she's going to be. And because of the way I just did all of that on the hands and everything, it's really going to help me out later. Really going to help me out later. Because we might have to do some reconstructions. And just keeping that in mind now is good. Alright, so I've already done a lot here. I'm going to get some white for our Esquire. What is a good semi-Victorian name? Just semi-Victorian. Not like full-blown. So one thing I'm doing right now is I'm actually getting some additional paint on here and kind of beginning to lighten up the hair so that when we come through to build more depth. It's going to not only look more natural, but we're not going to see like the remnants of the canvas. So kind of just getting the canvas worked so that we do not end up with remnants. No canvas remnants. This kind of painting is actually going to be a lot longer process, but in a good way. That was some very wet yellow ochre I just got into. That's okay. We're going to work with it. That's right. We're going to work with it. Because sometimes that is all you can do. But, you know, this is building. Like, bottom line, art is a process. Whew, I'm hot. I am hot. Whew. I hope everyone is having an absolutely wonderful, amazing, delightful Saturday. Amazing, delightful, wonderful Saturday. Alright, so now that I've done all of this, what I'm actually going to be doing is I need something else. This is it. This is what I need. I'm going to add a little apricot in here with a small brush. Which small brush do I want? This is going to do, we have number 6 angle brush. I'm going to use that. I'm going to get a little of this apricot. We've been doing a lot so far, and I like it. I have actually gone ahead and pretty much removed her eyebrows because there's different things I want to do with them now. Now that I'm looking at everything. But sometimes that's just how it goes. Sometimes you say, no, I don't like what I was doing. Sometimes you just don't like what you were doing. And that's okay. There's a lot of choices to make still. So this apricot is a semi-transparent. Because of that, it's just adding some different flavor to our paint as opposed to completely covering everything up that we were just doing. But it's also fulfilling another very important role, and that is making sure that we don't have any gaps from the canvas still there. It's a bit of a struggle sometimes to make sure you're getting good coverage depending on your paint. Now, because I paint on canvas board, There are a lot of moments where I don't get full coverage. So I just have to go back in and start picking those spots out. And filling them in. Now, we're getting a fun kind of woman of mystery thing going on here. The dress is brown, it's dull, it's got some black, nothing exceptional. We're going to make all of that pop. All of it. In case you are curious how we're going to make it pop, I'm going to make it pop with a little bit of gold and a little bit of gray. When I mix them together, it's going to give me an interesting pigmentation. I'm going to get some of those metallic pigment powders in here. I'm also going to get really good coverage. And that's going to cover for the top of the dress. Top of the outfit. I am going to do a little bit of covering over some other things, but in the end it's all going to be a big win, because now we have those metallic pigments, words. Now we have that metallic pigment in the top of the dress, and now we're going to add a little bit into the skirt right here. Now these have good coverage, which is one of the primary reasons I want it now. I want that really nice coverage. Thank you very much. Now we're still early on, but this is how you have just a lot of pop and a lot of different stylization that you can add to a piece. We're going to end up doing a little overpaint here, that's alright. Because there's still a lot to do. But there's now some metallic pigmentation, some metallic pigment powder and gray that's been added to the blouse section and the trimming and the waist of the dress. All very important. But now that I've done that, I actually am going to be, even though I already have black right there, I'm going to take some phthalo blue and a small flat brush. There's a lot of reasons for this, but let me share with you one of the primary ones. This is just reinforcing a hard line that I've created, and also adding a form of shadow coloration. We're going to get a really nice shadow. Once I get some more phthalo blue in the dress, in what would be the underdress, that's just good. Oops. That's okay. No oops. Oops All Berries. That's a cereal, right? Oops All Berries? Well, we're having Oops All Awesome. Not really yet. Not awesome yet, but this is what a work in progress is. It's continuous adaptation and implementation of our skills. The more I paint with all of you, whether it's on these streams or in my workshops, I'm not just becoming a better artist, I'm becoming a lot more confident. Which, as long as I've been creating art, you'd think I'd be a lot more confident than I am. But there are moments where I just think something is amiss. It's like, that misses. That is a miss. That's not a win. That phthalo blue over top of the black, that just gives wonderful depth. Wonderful depth. So we're doing the same thing on the corset area. Or what should be the corset area. And I am still going for kind of let's make sure that those are equivalently spaced. I'm still going for a highly stylized outfit, and this particular sort of corset is more found in fantasy literature and paintings and artwork and Ren fairs than it is in old Victorian or actual Edwardian clothing, which just reinforces that we are dealing with a fantasy setting. Internal consistency is important. She could get away with wearing an Edwardian or a Victorian corset because she's just got that much style, but why would she? Why would she? I'll give that 2 seconds to set. Don't want to put too much paint in each layer. It's just going to end up bad. So far, everything here, there's a lot of warm. There's a lot of semi-florals. We still have a lot of visible construction lines. Maybe you can't see them in the on the screen, but I can see them on the canvas. So there's still those. That all needs to be dealt with. And it will be in time. And we still have to reconstruct the face and continue to add more tone. One of the next things I'm going to be doing is, because of this really light blue, I think that light blue, even though it's fun, is too light to go right next to this amethyst. It's too light. So I need a different blue. So I'm going to get some cobalt blue, because that sounds nice. Little cobalt blue. I'm not going to add a lot right now. I just need to get some in there. So that's what I'm going to do. Use a large flat brush just so I can get big strokes. Because I already know that this is going to take some time, you know? Oh, I'm not going to use that brush. That brush is not playing well with me right now. This brush will be better. So I'm getting a minor amount of pull-up of some other pigmentation that I've had in here. But we're going to work through it, and we're going to keep going. Oh yeah. So here is where a little bit of wrist movement can be quite helpful. As it's going to help us kind of maintain a very specific tone and visual. Yeah, I like that more. I like that a lot more. The cobalt is working out. In case I haven't screamed it from the rooftops today, I love art. Oh yeah. That's a much stronger background now. I can see places I still need to make improvements, but overall, we're getting a really good feel. Still so much more to do. So one of the things I'm going to be doing, I know I've already added to the hair, but I'm about to take some more gray and some more white, mix that up, create kind of a mid-tone gray. I'm going to go back in and add some more because I really need to make sure that no matter what, I have good coverage for where the hair is going to be. So, a little mid-tone gray. Just ensuring I get good coverage here. It's also going to lighten up some of the dark spots and darken up some of the light spots. And give me an overall better consistency. I'm liking that already. Some straight white in there. Really upping the brightness, kind of turning the contrast up on where the hair is going to be. I do intend on having her have just like bright yellow eyes, and I think there's kind of a nice aspect of that already going on. I just like the idea of yellow eyes lately. It's fun. I think that's all the justification I need. It's fun. Just grab a number 2 round brush really quick. Just add some more yellow in there. While we're at it, there's some other spots that need a little yellow again. Just some quick touch-up zones as I keep moving forward. Quick little touch-ups. All right. Whew. I tell you what, I am hot in here today. When it comes to our early blocking and our creative process, I think a lot of this is going exceptionally well. Now there are a couple of things that I'm going to do before I call it a day. One of those is actually going to be taking a burnt sienna and starting to get it in on some of this dress area. It's also going to allow me to start to pick those fingers back out. just going to look really good. Now, I'm not going to put a whole bunch on right now, but there are some spots that I want to have that already worked into the fabric. Overpainting again. That's okay. That's okay. We're gonna make it work. When it comes to fabric, you kind of have to play a little bit and really get into a lot of the crevices. A lot of crevices in fabric. Not exactly sure what kind of fabric this is yet. But whatever it is, it's nice. Alright. So here we are so far. There's a lot of different variation going on in our pattern and in our design. In initial blocking, I think this is really tight, really nice. There's a lot of room for improvement. I can already see that as far as the skin, the face, the hair, there's going to be a whole lot that we're going to get to do. Like a whole lot. One thing I want to do really quick, I'm actually going to be taking my phthalo blue and this little brush here. And I'm going to start to delineate a couple of spots. Delineate, no. You know what? We're just going to go with it. I said it. But I'm going to start to add a little bit of boundary between what our panels are. Because I think that's going to actually make the whole stylization stick out a whole lot better. I know that was kind of a heavy stroke, but on this one, let's go a little thicker. There's still a lot I can fix, and there's still, got a little impatient there, but I actually think a slightly bigger border up there is going to be nice. There's still a few more things I want to do, but like if you look at that now, those panels are very distinctly cut 1, 2, 3 to give the background that kind of visual interest. You know, maybe that's a hallway, maybe that's some sort of room, and you know, you can see the ceiling and the floor and the wall far away. I don't know, but because of that small addition, this now is just more interesting. It's just more interesting. We have a clear cut background. I am going to do more work to make this background tied together. We have a lot more to do with the hair, a lot more to do with the face, the eyes, the lips, but you know, this is day one. This is day one. I would like to talk to you all, though, for a moment, if I could. Now, you're going to see in either the chat, the comments, or the description of this video, depending on where you're joining me, my website. You're going to see a link from my website. And let's talk for a minute about why you want to go to my website. Well, on my website, you can get my original artwork, you can get art prints, you can get merch, because I have sweaters, t-shirts, a whole bunch of other fun stuff, but I also have art accessories. I have sketchbooks, pencil and brush bags, a big tote. They're absolutely wonderful. It would be amazing if you picked yourself up one. Now, there's absolutely no push. You don't have to get one, but if you do, not only are you amazing, stellar, super, you are supporting independent art. And that in itself is beautiful, but you're also supporting small business. And in this day and age of big box corporations, franchises, the same name brands in a million stores, supporting small business helps continue to support individual entrepreneurs, creators, and build stronger networks of small businesses that can supply you with amazing products and amazing things that you want, that you can enjoy. But more than that, supporting small business and supporting independent artists and supporting streamers and entertainers, it goes to feed and fuel our burgeoning communities. Make sure to support small business. We have Silver Fox in the chat. Support her too, because she's amazing and can teach you how to live stream and just be a tremendous individual to get your voice out there and amplify it. So you should definitely support her. But when you support small business, you're not buying a CEO a new website or a second home. You're helping to put shoes on someone's kid, or helping keep the electric bill on for someone like you. Small business is fundamental to our world. All right, that's enough of that. That's my long plug. I want you to take care. I am going to get going for today. It is tremendously warm in here. But take care. Be well. Be excellent, my friends. I will see you again soon, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye, everybody.